In a country where blending in is treated almost like a cultural law, being different can feel like carrying a spotlight you never asked for. Japan is a society built on harmony, sameness, and quiet conformity, a place where standing out is often seen before you even speak. Now imagine growing up there as a Black woman with Japanese heritage, navigating a world that doesn't quite know where to place you. Too Black for some spaces, too Japanese for others, and constantly caught between identities in a country that prefers simple labels. For many people, that pressure would be enough to disappear into the background. But the women on this list did the exact opposite. They became louder, bigger, more successful, and impossible to ignore. They transformed difference into influence, isolation into ambition, curiosity into global fame. From championship tennis courts to luxury fashion campaigns, from music studios to multi-million-dollar business empires, these women broke through barriers that were never designed to let them in, and then built empires so powerful the world had no choice but to recognize them. These are the 8 most powerful and influential Black women connected to Japan. And by the time we reach number 1, you will understand something that most of the world is only beginning to realize. That some of the most remarkable stories of Black excellence are being written not in New York or London or Lagos, but in Tokyo. Number 8, we begin with a woman whose name you may not immediately recognize, but whose decision, made quietly in a small Osaka apartment in the early 1990s, changed the trajectory of sports history. Tamaki Osaka is Naomi Osaka's Japanese mother, and to frame her solely as Naomi's mother is to miss the entire point of her story. Tamaki was born and raised in Japan, and when she fell in love with Leonard Francois, a Haitian man she met while he was studying in Japan, she did something that, in the Japan of that era, required remarkable personal courage. She chose him, publicly, permanently, in a society where interracial marriage was not simply uncommon, but actively stigmatized by family and community alike. Her own parents disowned her for it. She built her family anyway. She moved to the United States, raised 2 daughters across cultures and continents, and poured every resource she had into developing Naomi's tennis talent, long before any coach, any sponsor, or any federation saw what she saw. Tamaki Osaka's estimated personal wealth, tied to her role in managing Naomi's early career and family business interests, sits in the millions. But her real contribution to this list is something no net worth figure can capture. She is the architect of the most powerful Black Japanese story the world has ever told. Everything that follows, every Grand Slam, every Forbes cover, every Olympic torch, began with her choice. At number 7 is Thelma Aoyama, and if you weren't following Japanese music charts in 2008, you missed one of the most extraordinary commercial moments in the history of Asian pop. Born in Nara, Japan, to a Japanese mother and an Afro-Trinidadian father, Thelma grew up navigating the particular complexity of being visibly mixed race in a country that values conformity above almost everything else. She faced discrimination in both Japan and the United States, and has spoken openly about the racism she experienced in both countries. None of it stopped her. In 2008, she released Soba ni Irune, a duet with rapper Soulja that became the best-selling digital download single in Japan at that time, certified by the Guinness World Records with over 8.7 million downloads by November of that year. The song reached number 1 on the Oricon charts and stayed in the top 5 for 7 consecutive weeks. Her debut album, Diary, debuted at number 3 nationally, and her compilation album, Love, Thelma Love Song Collection, debuted at number 1. She performed at the 59th NHK Kohaku Utagassen, Japan's most prestigious annual music broadcast, cementing her place in the mainstream of Japanese pop culture. More recently, she co-hosted Netflix Japan's groundbreaking reality series, The Boyfriend, the country's first dating show featuring same-sex male participants. Thelma Aoyama didn't just sell records. She cracked open a door in Japanese entertainment that had been sealed shut. And she did it with a voice so undeniable that the industry had no choice but to let her through. Number 6 belongs to a woman from a small town in Mississippi who somehow, against every reasonable expectation, ended up running the most beloved Black-owned restaurant in Tokyo. LaTanya Whitaker is the co-founder of Soul Food House, established in 2015 in the Azabu Juban district of Tokyo, the only authentic sit-down soul food restaurant in Japan. She and her husband David were initially brought to Japan by a Japanese pastor and his wife, and what began as a series of legendary Thanksgiving dinners for friends eventually grew into a full restaurant operation that has become a cultural institution for both Tokyo's Black expatriate community and Japanese food lovers who line up for her catfish, jambalaya, chicken and waffles, and gumbo. LaTanya also co-founded the Legacy Foundation Japan, an organization dedicated to supporting, documenting, and celebrating the Black experience in Japan, a mission that has connected thousands of people and created infrastructure that simply did not exist before she built it. She has taught Southern cooking classes to Japanese students, appeared on Japanese national television, and built a community around food and culture that has made her one of the most recognized Black women in Tokyo. Her story is not one of inherited wealth or global fame. It is something rarer and more durable. The story of a woman who showed up in a foreign country with a vision, a cast iron skillet, and the refusal to let geography limit what she could build. At number 5 is Amarachi Nuosu, Nigerian-American photographer, filmmaker, and founder of Melanin Unscripted, whose work in Tokyo became one of the most talked about explorations of Black identity in Asia of the last decade. Amarachi first came to Japan as a university student, winning 6 scholarships to study international communications abroad. She fell in love with Tokyo, returned after graduating to learn Japanese full-time, and embedded herself in the city's creative industries, working with clients including Adidas Tokyo, Beats, and Sony Music Japan, and becoming part of the launch team of Highsnobiety Japan. But the work that defined her time in Japan was Black in Tokyo, a short documentary she wrote, directed, and produced that premiered at the International Center of Photography in New York in 2017, exploring the nuanced, complex, and deeply human experience of being Black in one of the world's most homogenous countries. The film was screened in Tokyo's Harajuku district and covered by CNN Africa, ID, Vice, MTV, Highsnobiety, and Black Enterprise. She shot a campaign for Adidas Tokyo that featured the first woman of African descent ever on their Japanese Instagram account. Activist Malala Yousafzai personally commissioned her to document her visit to Tokyo in 2019. Amarachi Nuosu went to Japan to study. She ended up changing how the world saw Black life there.
20-year-old Ariana Miyamoto is the first biracial winner of that pageant. Seth Doan is in Tokyo, where Miyamoto says she wants to represent the new face of Japan. Seth, good morning.
Good morning. Japan is one of the most homogeneous countries on earth, and that newest beauty queen here is prompting a real debate about what it means to be Japanese. Walking through the Shibuya section of Tokyo, Ariana Miyamoto certainly turns heads, and she wants to use that attention to change attitudes.
Why did you want to be Miss Universe Japan?
Japan still has racial issues, she told us, and I wanted to do something about it.
Number 4 is a name that carries the full weight of what it means to be first. In 2015, Ariana Miyamoto became the first biracial woman ever crowned Miss Universe Japan. And the response from parts of Japanese society was not celebration. It was controversy. Born to a Japanese mother and an African-American father, Ariana had grown up experiencing racism in Japan from childhood, called slurs by classmates, excluded from swimming pools, told in ways both explicit and implied that she did not fully belong. When she won the title, critics questioned whether a woman who wasn't purely Japanese could legitimately represent the country. Social media erupted. International media picked up the story. And Ariana Miyamoto, standing in the middle of a national conversation she hadn't asked to start, chose not to retreat. She traveled to Las Vegas. She wore the sash. She carried the flag. She spoke publicly and repeatedly about diversity, identity, and the Japan she believed was possible. One where being biracial didn't disqualify you from belonging. In the years since, she has built a career spanning modeling, television presenting, brand partnerships, and advocacy work, and has become one of the most recognizable mixed-race public figures in Japanese media. She didn't just win a pageant. She started an argument that Japan needed to have with itself, and she was brave enough to stand in the center of it. At number 3 is Crystal K, and in Japan, those two words carry the same cultural weight that names like Mariah or Whitney carry in America. Born in Yokohama to a Korean-American father and an African-American mother, Crystal K debuted her first single at just 13 years old, making her one of the youngest professional recording artists in Japanese music history. What followed was 2 decades of sustained mainstream success in one of the most competitive music markets on earth. A market, it should be noted, that had never produced a black artist at her level before her, and had no roadmap for what she was about to do. Her 2004 single, Girlfriend, reached number 2 on the Oricon charts, and became one of the defining pop songs of that era in Japan. Her album sold in the hundreds of thousands. Her brand partnerships extended across cosmetics, fashion, and lifestyle. She collaborated with Japanese artists across every genre, appeared on national television regularly, and became a fixture at Japan's most prestigious music events. For an entire generation of mixed-race and black Japanese young people who grew up watching Crystal K on television, she was not just a singer. She was proof, tangible, chart-topping, undeniable proof, that someone who looked like them could stand at the center of Japanese pop culture and belong there completely. Her estimated net worth, built across royalties, tours, endorsements, and acting work spanning more than 20 years, sits in the multi-millions. But the number is almost beside the point. Crystal K's real value to this story is what she represented before the money was ever made. The first. Number 2 is Kimora Lee Simmons, and her connection to Japan is not a footnote in her story. It is one of its foundations. Born in St. Louis, Missouri to an African-American father and a Japanese mother, Joanne Perkins, born in Japan and brought to the United States after the Korean War, Kimora grew up holding 2 cultural identities that the world around her had no framework to accommodate simultaneously. She was too tall, too mixed, too everything. At 13, she was discovered at a model search. At 14, she signed exclusively with Chanel and became a muse to Karl Lagerfeld, one of the youngest models to ever walk for the legendary fashion house. In 1999, she took the creative reins of Baby Phat, a women's streetwear label she transformed from a side project into a global lifestyle empire, generating over $1 billion in annual retail sales at its peak, with its iconic cat logo becoming one of the most recognized symbols in urban fashion history. She has described her trips to Japan, the country of her mother's birth, as cultural pilgrimages, taking her children to connect with the Japanese side of their heritage, and speaking publicly about how her Japanese ancestry shaped her aesthetic sensibility and her understanding of craftsmanship, precision, and luxury. In 2024, she relaunched Baby Phat alongside her daughters Ming Lee and Aoki Lee Simmons as co-creative directors, writing a new chapter in one of fashion's most iconic brands. Kimora Lee Simmons built a billion-dollar brand while being too black for some spaces and too Asian for others. She built it anyway, and she built it beautifully. And then there is number 1. There was always going to be a number 1, and there was never really any question about who it would be. Naomi Osaka, born in Osaka, Japan, to a Haitian father and a Japanese mother, raised in the United States, holding dual citizenship between Japan and the United States before choosing to represent Japan at the highest levels of professional sport, is the wealthiest, most globally influential black woman with Japanese heritage who has ever lived. At the peak of her earnings, Forbes estimated her annual income at $57.3 million, making her the highest paid female athlete in the world, a record she held for multiple consecutive years. Her Grand Slam titles, 4 of them, spanning the US Open and Australian Open across 2018 to 2021, established her as one of the greatest tennis players of her generation. But Naomi Osaka's empire extends far beyond the baseline. She has partnered with Nike, Louis Vuitton, MasterCard, Nissin, and a portfolio of global brands worth hundreds of millions in combined deal value. She launched her own skincare brand, Kinlo, specifically designed for people with melanin-rich skin, a business decision that was simultaneously personal, political, and commercially brilliant. She walked off the court at the 2021 French Open to protect her mental health, triggering a global conversation about athlete well-being that is still ongoing. She carried the Olympic torch at the Tokyo 2020 Games, in Japan, her birth country, and lit the Olympic cauldron in front of the world. She is estimated to be worth over $250 million. She is 26 years old. She is black. She is Japanese. She refuses to be only one thing. And in that refusal, she has given an entire generation of girls on both sides of the Pacific Ocean the permission to be everything they are, all at once, without apology. Japan produced her. The world claimed her. And somewhere between those two truths is the most powerful story on this entire list. Some people are born into history. Naomi Osaka walked into it, racket in hand, eyes open, ready. So now the question comes to you. Which of these powerful black women from Japan inspired you the most, and whose lifestyle surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, we've got another incredible black success story waiting for you right here. Don't forget to give this video a like, share your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and never stop watching Black Elites. I'll see you in the next one.